Hello and welcome to Educational Specifications Virtual Workshop number 3. I'm Molly Smith from Think Smart Planning, and along with me is Rob Bergheimer, our design lead from Sketch Architecture Company. I'd like to recap for you the exercises that we completed in virtual meeting number 2. I'm going to be going through the answers that this team provided on the questions in our SurveyMonkey survey. The first recap that I'll be doing is the recap from exercise number 5 for virtual meeting number 2, learning organization. If you recall, we were talking about school organization, the organization of students, time, subjects, and settings. In question 1, you were asked to rank the following from highest to lowest priority for the organization of DHS students. We were asking how or what are the most important things that you would consider in organizing students. Here on the chart you see the number of highest rated answers to the lowest rated answers. So in other words, class size came out as the number 1 answer for organizing students. Obviously, the class sizes we're dealing with on Douglas High School right now are quite small and have influenced our thinking. Secondly, organized by content or department is important to the group. Flexible sized groupings of students is also important. Organizing by career pathways is a top idea as well. Personalized, student-driven learning is very important. Small learning communities was important to the group. And our last 4 answers, organized by grade level, team teaching, ability level groupings, and organized by gender, were less important to the group. In question number 2, we asked, rank the following from highest to lowest priority for the organization of time. These were the top ideas that our team came up with. Number 1 was individual and flexible scheduling, students being able to control their own schedule. 1-hour period scheduling was important. After-hours access to games, library, clubs, etc. Flexibility to start school, in other words, picking your own start time. And then the last 4 ideas, which were less important, were block scheduling, late start school, extended days, and year-round school. On question 3, the team was asked to rank the following from highest to lowest priority for the organization of subjects. The top idea from this question was organizing subjects by critical thinking and problem solving, encouraging experimentation and discovery, relevancy to the real world, career tech-driven or pathways around careers, and students learning while doing. And the lower ideas in our ranking were interconnectivity or integrated learning, disciplinary divisions, and sequential order to subjects. In question number 4, the team was asked to rank the following from highest to lowest priority for the organization of DHS settings, in other words, learning environments. The top 3 ideas that came out were collaboration spaces, adaptable spaces, flexible and informal learning areas, then whole group spaces, mixed-use spaces, outdoor learning spaces, breakout areas, community space, project areas, and small learning spaces were ranked. And then lower ideas were transparency to other spaces in traditional classrooms. Next, we will recap the answers from exercise number 6 from virtual meeting number 2 on learning environment. In each of the questions, I'll be ranking for you the similar answers that were listed by all the team members. So in question 1, part 1, you're asked to describe the spaces needed for learning in support of instructional staff. You can see by the list that the highest rated answers are in red: teacher planning areas, creative flexible space, larger classrooms, and life skills ESS areas. Other things that were mentioned are listed in black: storage and prep, advanced technology, space for collaboration, space for small groups, science labs, performing arts, vocational classrooms, and versatile areas. Question 1, part 2 said, describe the spaces needed for learning in support of community. You can see here in red that a large number of people replied space for community or social meetings was very important. Providing workspace and internet access for community was also very important. Other ideas were providing and upgrading the auditorium and gym, providing for youth sports, athletic spaces, better library resources, access to the facility, classrooms, and parking areas. In question 1, part 3, we asked, describe the spaces needed for learning in support of students. You can see here in red that overwhelmingly, most people thought that a lounge or work area with access to technology was very important. Also, technology upgrades campus-wide, accessing the internet inside and outside the buildings. Common areas were also deemed important. Other ideas were flexible spaces and furnishings, a wellness area, after-school computer labs, professional areas, small class sizes, larger classrooms, labs, larger cafeteria, and more restrooms. In question 2, we asked the team to discuss technology and its integration into the DHS learning environments. Some of the top answers that we heard were technology-driven learning will be very important in the future. Also, technology needs to be ubiquitous, meaning that it needs to be everywhere, accessed inside the buildings, outside the buildings, in the classrooms, in the labs, throughout the campus. And all students need laptops was also mentioned. Other answers were students need technological access to the internet throughout the campus, CTE integration with technology, and technology needs to be available, functional, and reliable. In question 3, we asked, describe the ideal ways to incorporate flexibility and agility into DHS students' learning experience. The top ideas that we heard were flexible learning spaces and places, flexible scheduling, student lounge work area, student large group areas, student commons, and food choices. Other areas were students' choice in learning plans, updated learning environments, classes that offer problem solving, and the mobility of learning spaces. In question 4, we were asked to discuss ways to incorporate community into the DHS learning environment. The top ideas were community gathering areas, integrate community members into DHS programs, and larger library with more technology for parents to come and take classes. Other ideas were fine arts classes, areas for student clubs and activities, a commons area, an open door access for parents, parking areas, access should be clear on campus for community, parent technology areas, and partnerships to expand learning. Next, we'll be recapping the space plan for DHS learning environment. Throughout our interviews with all the small groups, we were able to gather information from all of you and incorporate it into what would become the plan for the new DHS edition. In other words, what are the spaces that will be in the new edition? Here you can see a recap on the left of all of the areas and the square footages that will be assigned to the areas. You can see on the right that the chart shows us what percentage each of these areas takes up of the total square footage. We were given a target by the state of 87,502 square feet for this new addition. This new addition, as it stands, is 87,500 square feet. We were also told that we must accommodate 653 students in the new building, and this new building will accommodate, according to current calculations, 658 additional students to the campus for design capacity. This is not the maximum capacity, but the comfortable design capacity that we would be working at on a daily basis. You can see that we have the square footages in the column on the left and the gross square footage on the right. GSF is gross square footage. The square footages are net square footages or indoor usable space. The gross square footage is the area from wall to wall, exterior wall to exterior wall, and does include wall thicknesses, circulation patterns, support type areas, mechanical rooms, etc. You can see here that when we look at the chart on the right, we add up classrooms, career tech, special needs, performing art, and physical education. These are all areas where students are going to class every day. They have classrooms. These areas combined make up approximately 75% of the new building. Other areas in the new building will be student support areas or student union, food services, and support and maintenance. And here we have some of the space plan highlights for the new addition. In the food service and dining area, we have a student dining and a food service kitchen in the building. For the student union and student services portion of the building, we have a student commons, which is also the student dining area, but will be used as a student commons in other times of the day. We have meeting rooms, technology help desk, bookstore, health, counseling and guidance, as other student services that are included in the building. Under physical education, we have a wellness and strength training room, which will replace the weight room that is currently off campus. Under performing arts and visual arts, we have a visual arts classroom and a drama lecture classroom. Under special needs, we have 4 self-contained ESS rooms, a life skills area, a staff office and workroom. Under core classrooms, we have 16 multi-purpose classrooms and 9 science classroom labs. Under career and technical, we have a construction lab, engineering lab classroom, drafting design architecture, film TV production, graphic and web design, and law and public safety. Any of the areas that are currently existing on campus, such as some of the career and technical areas that will be relocated into the new addition, the areas they're currently in will be redesigned or reused for classroom areas or science rooms or other needs for the campus. Now we'll begin our discussion of some of the preliminary concept designs for the campus. These designs are basically in sketch format, and we've included them because we're asking the team to give us some of your thoughts about these designs. Here, when we look at the overall site plan, you can see in the dotted yellow, the project area is about 11 acres. The site is bordered by an alley to the north, Eddy Street to the east, building K and K through the south. The project area is approximately 11 acres. Note the district building across the street to the west. Welding and district kitchen is to the east. Here on this site, the proposal is to remove the district maintenance building to the west. Since the campus is not fire sprinklered, a fire lane is going to be required for emergency vehicle access to the campus. You can see this right here will be the connection from Eddy to Australia, aligning with 16th Street. Here are the district buildings proposed to be removed. We also need a bus drop-off. We notice stress with bus, pedestrian, students, and parent drop-off here along the Australia Avenue. The bus lane will traverse across here on the campus and will drop students on the right-hand side during the morning and afternoons. We will have gates at the ends of the bus lane so that the campus can become one during the day. We feel safety is paramount, so we're proposing the bus to be separated from the west side of the site. The proposed alignment should match the street to the west by the park. The campus will need the community support healthcare van access here as well. We're also proposing to remove this computer portable here. We'll also have a closer connection to the agriculture and district kitchen buildings. A couple of site items to consider are the existable portable building to the south that needs to be removed down here. A gym entry is directly west of our proposed site here. The gym entry is along this side of the building. The district maintenance and old slabs building to the north and west are being proposed to be removed up in this area. As we look at the items that will shape the design of the new building, we can see that the redesign of the field areas to the north of the site, in the north part of the site, will accommodate fall sports, soccer and football, as well as spring sports, such as baseball, track, and field sports. You can see here that in redesigning this portion of the site, we have overlapping field areas for different times of the year to be used. Here on this drawing is the proposed new drop-off lane and fire access with gates at the end, which will be closed during the day so that students can cross and go to the field areas. Another access way will come down into a plaza, which will allow any fire vehicles, fire trucks, to turn around here and access all of the buildings as required by code. This area will be a proposed new plaza that students will be able to use to walk and access any new buildings that will be on the site. We have faculty parking proposed over here, approximately 70 to 75 parking sites as required by the School Facilities Board in the design of this project. First, we would like to show you a two-story concept that was discussed amongst team leaders before this presentation. This concept has been deemed not feasible because of the budget and because of the fact that it doesn't get us more field area, which we would need to have another field on the site. So you can see up in this area the proposed multi-field area, and you can see the footprint of a two-story building on the site. Now the footprint is 60,000 square feet of our 87,000 square foot building. The reason for that is that these areas must be on the ground floor and cannot be on the second story. So our first story would actually be larger than the second story of the building. And you can see the amount of space that takes up. Here is the proposed plaza. Here is the proposed new parking. You can see that leaves us a 0.75 acre field area, which really isn't big enough for any of the items that we need for athletics. So our pros are that we did get 0.75 acres of field area and a more compact campus and interesting building forms if the building were two-story. Unfortunately, because the building would be 2 stories, elevators and stairwells would be included, which would cost us additional monies. This concept would cost $4.685 million more than a single-story concept, putting this concept out of our financial budget. And the extra field area has limited uses. So for all of these reasons, we deemed this concept to not be feasible for this project. Now we'd like to show you 2 more concepts. The first being a single building concept. Again, you see the new field areas and the faculty parking and the bus lane we mentioned before, as well as the access lane and the student plaza here. These are the gym buildings in Building K. When we build a one-piece single building concept, we need to make sure it's separated from the current building because of fire code regulations and because we need a retention area for runoff on site. You can see here in the diagram that we've labeled for you some of the areas we mentioned before in the space plan. The dining and commons area would be here, accessed off the plaza. All of the student services would be adjoining the dining and commons area for students that need services. You can see the science labs up the center here with classrooms on the sides, the ESS rooms, the visual arts, the PE, wellness, and strength training area, performing arts and drama, and CTE areas with access to service lanes here that would go out to the side road here on the east of the campus. Next, the team looked at a multi-building concept. This concept would be very similar to the buildings you already have on your campus. The advantage to pulling the building apart and making multiple buildings is that now our circulation areas are between buildings, but not inside buildings, and they take up less space. However, we can have covered walks between building to building in order to provide shade for students. We can also provide gates at each entry to these 4 buildings to create a single building type circulation pattern so that we don't have a lot of people walking through and going into different places here. Only students that would be needing to go into the building would be accessing through the gates. Here we have the dining commons, the science labs and classroom labs, the student services area, the ESS area, CTE in light blue, visual arts and performing arts in purple, and the PE, strength training, weight training area here in red. In this concept, we're able to make some of the interior spaces slightly larger because we did not have to use so much space on interior corridors. So in our next survey, we'd like for you to click the link below and answer the questions for building concepts. The questions will be to basically provide us with the pros and cons of the single building concept versus the multi-building concept. We would like for you to list all of the pros and cons that you can think of for each of the concepts. Please use this SurveyMonkey link, paste it into your browser or click on it to go to the survey. And come back here when you're finished. This is the end of workshop number 3. Thank you for participating. All of your comments are so valuable to us and help this project so much. I'm Molly Smith, and this is my email address if you need to contact me, and Rob Berkheimer, and here's Rob's email address if you need to contact Rob. Thank you.